So welcome everybody to Backstep Outdoors podcast. Today we finished up our very first podcast, detailing a little bit about who we are as far as IFD firemen and avid outdoorsmen, and how our 2019 season went. So it's kind of a wrap up of it and how our gun, bow, and muzzleloader seasons went. So hope you guys enjoy. Go over to Facebook or Instagram and give us a like and a share and try to get this podcast out there for people to listen to. And hopefully, if you guys have any questions, just shoot us an email or shoot us a message on one of those platforms, and we'll be able to answer it on one of our podcasts. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Stay tuned. There'll be plenty more coming up. As well, just wanted to give you guys a heads up a little bit. We are three firemen that do use profanity about every other word. So just consider yourself warned. We try to minimize as much as possible for this podcast, so hope you enjoy.
There you have two avid outdoorsmen, a guy with minimal days to hunt.
Hey, you got a buck this year.
One and done, buddy.
One and done. That's all you need. Go out. How many days did you go out?
1. 3 hours after.
3 hours and bags of a year-and-a-half-old buck, 2.5-year-old buck.
Yeah. First time I bought my license and shot the deer in the same day.
Can't beat that.
No, literally
Be
hours
like Aaron
after.
and I and go out
Fucking
30 days throughout the year. And
I probably didn't make it out. I probably made it 20 days, I guess.
I was probably pretty close to 20.
I hunted more than what I thought I was going to, but fucking
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah.
I should have
You
done
were
other stuff besides
disappointment.
deer hunt. I'm going to next year.
Do what?
I'm not going to deer hunt every single day next year. I say that now, but
You'll deer hunt every day next year,
yeah,
just like I do.
it just consumes me.
I do the same. I say the same thing. I'm like, I'm gonna get really into waterfowl. And I started talking to Nick the other day. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get into waterfowl. We still got some time left. I look at the calendar. It's like you got like 3 days left for duck.
Yeah.
It goes
I'm
out
not
on the
buying,
9th.
I'm not buying a tag this year or a stamp this year.
What, for waterfowl?
Yeah.
Well, you could have got into it with.
I'm sure Throg will be.
You getting what, 3 deer?
What, 3 what?
A buck and 2 does.
No, you can get a doe and a buck or 2 does.
How many did you shoot this year, 2?
I shot 2.
Oh, I thought you shot 3.
No, I shot 2 does.
You shot a third one, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did shoot a third one.
Too soon?
Too soon. Yeah, still too soon. I'm still pissed
well.
off about that. I need to piece that together. Actually, that I got video from that.
Yeah. Did you get more video when you went out with Wyatt and JJ?
Just
Or
Wyatt. I got video when I went with Wyatt.
No.
I never went out. I didn't go out with JJ.
I mean, when you went to track that deer.
Oh
They were both
no!
with you, right?
Yeah, I just had my cell phone and I was carrying my bow at the same time, so I was too busy trying to be quiet and get them to not break sticks and crap until they did, and finally scared them away. But well, we can kick this thing off. To everybody that may be listening to this eventually, I'm Sam. We got Aaron and Steve.
Hello.
Aaron and I and Steve, we all work together, and we're pretty decent outdoorsmen. Steve is a 3-hour-a-year outdoorsman, so he gets it in.
Yes, it's all
But yeah, so we all work for a department here in Indianapolis, and we are all on the same shift, same apparatus, or started on the same apparatus. Steve's a truckie now, so.
That's right.
But today we're just going to talk a little bit about how our season ended up and kind of how we got to this point and where we plan on going from here. So I'll let Aaron kick it off.
All right. Let me first off start by saying I've been a deer hunter since I was about 10 years old. That was my first season. And I'm 31 now. So I've been
Did you gun hunt that or did you bow?
No, it was gun.
Was it?
Shotgun for probably until I was about 19. Then I got my first bow. It was an old PSC that I got off eBay for like $50.
Nice.
And it was about as tall as I was. So, so been bow hunting since I was about, I guess, 19. And then small game here and there also. So since I was about 10 or so. Used to go trap with my grandpa.
I'll say, who got you into hunting?
I would say my grandpa and my stepdad.
Yeah.
I went squirrel hunting with them for the first time when I was well, the same year, 10, when I was 10, right before deer season. So, been doing it ever since. But now, got my own family and a good job, so I'm getting consumed with buying weapons and all kinds of stuff to hunt more stuff with. So,
Does the government know about all those weapons?
they surely do. I'm a law-abiding citizen. So
many guns you won't buy a kayak either.
right, you got it. So this year, my wife and I, we had our first baby, a little girl, in March, and I went out 2 days this spring for turkey season, and then I've hunted squirrels a couple times this fall, and then I went out probably 15 or 20 days for deer season this year. Bow, shotgun, and muzzleloader. Shot a doe with my bow on November 1st, I think, on a piece of ground that I got permission to hunt. So
That's actually a pretty cool video too that we put together on
Yeah.
that. We just got to get that out.
yeah, that's the most excited I've ever been shooting a deer.
Yeah. Well,
Not buck, doe, no matter what it was. I was so excited to have it all on film.
well, and that's the thing is this year, like we've all killed deer, but this year's the first year we've actually all tried to videotape anything or record it or do anything of that nature. And for you to be able to get one on, I guess you've tried to
Yeah.
self-film the last couple of
Yeah.
years.
And it is I would consider myself not a great deer hunter by any means. I would say I'm pretty average, I would guess. I mean, I kill deer, but
You put in
nothing
the
like
time.
Yeah,
I put the
you got to
time
learn
in.
every year. Every time you go out, you're learning.
But it is just a totally new challenge, self-filming. Even filming if you had a partner filming with you, it would be a whole new challenge.
It's a pain. It's
Yeah.
it's way more difficult than, because this is my first year, so I misspoke on that. You've been doing it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
This is my first year doing it,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, I started doing it after I shot my 2 does. But
Yeah.
um,
And it just,
it's crazy.
Still
For
no
guys
proof
who-
you've shot those 2 does.
for guys who do this for a living, that film hunts and stuff, they are way more concerned about getting good film and making sure everything is perfect, where, as I'm sure, I know, but I'm sure you are as well, I'm more concerned about getting a good shot and killing deer than getting it all on film.
Well, and
I was
the opportunities that we have to shoot those big deer or deer in general are just not as prevalent as what those guys that are in the film industry do.
Yeah.
Like we hunt property that we get permission to hunt from private landowners or public land or whatever, small parcels, and not really anything big, and there's a lot of hunting pressure around us, so it's like not really that we don't have 30 does coming in on a sit and we're like, oh man, had a bad day, we didn't see any bucks or whatever. Like, hell, if I see a deer on my sit, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's a 1 hour sit or a 6 hour sit or a 12 hour sit, I'm happy if I see a deer. So
Yeah, when I was younger, I went many seasons without even seeing a deer, and I would go out with my stepdad all the time. And he's one of those old school guys where you go to the stand in the morning time, you're sitting there until it's dark. And so all day sits as a teenager and stuff like that.
I
It's
feel
like,
ya.
shoot, man.
yeah,
It's like I at least want to. And so when I killed my first deer, I was so pumped, a little button buck,
yeah.
And looking back, that the outdoor industry has just gotten so crazy with, oh well, that's a 2-year-old buck or what, dude. When Steve sent me that picture when he shot his deer, I jumped out of my chair. I was so excited for him. It's all about, to me, it's all about the experience.
We were here. You and I were here.
Were we here?
Yeah, we were here because he sent the video, and we were like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, we were here.
Because
Yeah.
we couldn't really tell at first. We just saw something kind of moving, and I was like, maybe a deer bedded down or something like that. And all of a sudden, we looked back through it again, and it was like, wait a second, no. Oh shit, that's a deer.
Yeah.
But well, that brings us, not to get too far into what you were talking about, Aaron, because that is definitely a topic that I want to talk about too. But Steve, go ahead and tell everybody who you are and when did you start getting into hunting and doing all your stuff.
Hi, my name's Steve. I like to fish and hunt. I was early teens, maybe 12 or 13, when my mom got with my stepdad, and he's kind of like the true outdoorsman that rubbed off on me. He hunted and trapped for a living and sold pelts and traveled the United States and kind of showed me what I know. It started with those weekend hunts, squirrel hunting. He'd give me a 22 or a 410 and say, sit here, and wouldn't tell me where he was going, so I couldn't come and find him. That, once again, like Aaron said, you sit in the woods, you wake up. He's old school too, wake up at 4 or 5, go out in the woods an hour or two at least before the sun comes up, even if you're squirrel hunting. But I went many years. All my family members, we did a lot of group hunts. Everybody else would shoot something. I would never see anything, or if I did see something, it would be too far out there. But about 5 years ago, I was living in Lexington. My buddy had about 50 acres, backed up to Daniel Boone, and I shot my first buck. It was actually a little 9-point, younger 9-point. And that really got the fire going again. I hadn't been hunting for a few years since we've been traveling, but we moved back, and this past year I shot a pretty young 7-point, but still proud of it. Never really got into archery. I like to fish a lot more, done waterfowl a couple times, but that's pretty much my experience. I'd probably call myself just the weekend warrior. So my wife has a crazy schedule too, so when there's time I get out there and I try to get it done.
And for everybody that doesn't know, Steve, like Aaron said, he just had a baby, and Steve just had, how old's Everett now? 13 months, 14
15.
months? 15 months? So, and I'm Sam, and I've got 2 boys at home as well, and they're both old enough now, though, that they're starting to kind of go with me. But a couple of the little small videos I've got have Wyatt with me, my oldest, and got to take him out and see a couple deer, and he ended up actually seeing. He was my good luck charm last year with that buck that I got.
Yeah, he was.
My biggest buck I've ever killed. 3.5-year-old. Was it 9? He was a 9-point. He was 117 inches, I think, is what he was. But for me, is biggest thing I've ever seen when I was sitting in the tree. So, but I've only actually been hunting deer for 9 years. I think this is my 9 years, but 10 seasons. This was my 10th season. We're finishing up right now. I grew up around hunting, but my my uncle, my grandfather, and my father, they all hunted, and we'd go to my grandparents' house up in Plymouth, Indiana, about every other weekend. And then during hunting season, we'd go up there almost every weekend. My dad would go out there and go hunt with my uncle and grandfather, and they'd go goose hunting and everything. They started taking us a little bit, but then skinny of it is like my father ended up passing away, and so that kind of solid foundation of hunting. My uncle stopped hunting for a few years after that because my dad was his hunting buddy and everything like that. So I never really got into it as a kid, but did a little bit of rabbit hunting in high school, and then really didn't get into hunting until right as I was getting ready to get out of the Marine Corps, and that's when I bought my first bow. Got a Matthews, diehard Matthews now, even though it's the only one I've ever owned. Yeah. Only bow I've ever owned, but I love it. So, been doing that for about 9-10 years now. Then I waterfowl every now and then. Actually, I've never killed a goose with my gun. I've killed I don't know, probably 24 with my bow from my back window in my backyard with the apple trees. So,
it's illegal, right?
No, it's not illegal. It's definitely legal to do.
Modern day Robin Hood.
Modern day Robin Hood in a neighborhood. So just make sure your city ordinances are up to code, and you can be all right. So yeah, I don't recommend doing that. I had some bad incidences with that, so I no longer do that. But but now I'm getting my kids into it too. So, and I'm sure Aaron will get his daughter into it, and Steve will get his son into it, and both my boys will be into it too. So it's a family thing, and we're big about getting families involved and friends involved and just getting everybody involved. Because I think that actually there was something the other day that it was obviously it's an eye-catching article about the hunter becoming extinct or hunters becoming extinct or whatever it was. But there's a huge shift with all the baby boomers now that are no longer hunting because they all grew up hunting. I mean, our parents doing the same thing, but now they're all shifting out of hunting, and there's not enough people 20s, 30s, or whatever to come in and sustain it. And a lot of people don't realize that most of the money we spend in our tags goes to conservation. I mean, I don't know how. I don't. Did you buy the bundle or did you buy a single tag for yours?
I bought the bundle.
So you bought a bundle, so you could get 3 deer. You paid $60-something bucks. You got 1 deer. Yeah. So you ate 2 tags. I shot 2 deer this year. I had 4 tags that I bought. I ate 2 tags. Aaron.
I ate 2 tags.
Ate 2 tags. So all that money goes directly to that we just pretty much donated to the state for conservation efforts. So. Without a lot of the baby boomers doing it, though, we don't have that coming in, so it just changes things up.
So why is the price of camo so high?
Got to pay a lot
so the
deer don't see you, bud.
I guess they're pretty proud of that shit.
Yes, they are. Well, talking to the guy that just bought a bunch of Sitka stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I'll sell you all my camo. I'll wear plaid next year.
All right.
Straight plaid.
Old school.
Who was that? Who sent us that picture of that guy? It was in he was in blue jeans,
Budweiser
tank top, American flag tank top.
I sent it. I found it on the Book of Face.
Yeah.
Shot a doe at 20 yards.
Yeah. Living the American dream right there.
Pretty sure he's wearing camouflage Crocs on though.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Camouflage Crocs.
Crocs in general.
But so our season wrap up. It's kind of what we want to get at tonight, this afternoon, whatever the time of the day it is. But.
Wherever you're listening at in the world.
Wherever you're listening at in the world right now. Moms, dads, probably all we're going to get. It's probably
roommates.
We're going to get like 10 people to listen to this. But I ended up getting 2 does this year. It was, when did I get mine? Mid-October. Actually, it was only like 2 days apart, actually.
Yeah. Both right there in the middle of October.
Yeah. I went out to one of the properties that I got permission to hunt. Actually, late. It wasn't until probably September. So I got permission to hunt that property. So I didn't have any scouting, didn't have any idea of where I was going to go or do anything on the property. And I went out there, I think the last week of September, and set a stand. Set 2 stands. 2 stands in a blind. And stand over on the side of a hill overlooking a creek, had a big bean field behind us. And the woods is only I think it's like 9 acres. It's not a very big parcel. But then to the west, you've got an abandoned golf course, which there's a monster buck running through there. I talked to the guy that owns that the other day, and he's got 200-something acres over there, and he said they've got 2 or 3 bucks that are 160, 170.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to put cameras out now to figure out where they're at, but see if they come on the property at all. But I didn't have any tracking or any patterning or anything like that as far as figuring out where the deer were at, just besides looking in the creek and walking around on trails and trying to figure out something and put a stand up. And my first day there, my first sit, I think I was out for maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that, and I had a doe and a fawn come in, and then I had 2 more does and another doe and 2 fawns after that come in. But that first group of does and fawns that came in, I ended up taking a doe out of there and got super lucky. It was a bad shot. She took a step right as I released, and my shot ended up being about 6 inches too far back from where I was aiming, and got a lot of her liver, a little bit of her gut, but thankfully she ran down the creek about maybe 30 yards, jumped up on the bank and laid down right there on the side of the bank, and she was dead within 10 minutes. I could see her through my binoculars. And then we had shift the next day. We were at work the very next day, and then the day after that I went out again, or 2 days after that I went out again. Kids were at school, wife was at work, and I was sitting there for maybe an hour and a half. Had a small little basket 8 come in, let him walk, and then 2 does came in from the opposite direction of where he came in from, and sniffed one of the scrapes that he walked through. Then they went to the north, and they turned back around, came back south, and she walked in within, I think she was 15 yards away. But it was one of those ones where she got within 15 yards, and I drew back, and as soon as I drew back, she stopped right behind a tree. So I had to hold it for what felt like an eternity, but
10 seconds.
Probably 10 seconds, yeah. No, it felt like 3 minutes, but finally let it down a little bit, and then she bounced out to 20 yards. But when she bounced out to 20 yards, she just dead stopped, broadside, looked away, looked at the other doe, and by the time she turned back around and looked at me, I had it drawn back again and hit her again, and she ran maybe 30 yards. But it's funny. I took a selfie with it. I'll have to post somewhere, but took a selfie right after I took the shot. My wife called me and she was like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I was like, "What do you think I'm doing today?" And she's like, "I don't know." So I sent her the picture of it, and she was like, "You went hunting?" I was like, "Yeah." And killed another deer. She was like, "Oh, all right."
All right.
So.
Never mind. We're not going out later.
Yeah, pretty much. So, ended up spending the rest of that day butchering up the deer in the garage. So, kids were actually kind of pissed off because I didn't wait for them to come home.
What, to drag them out or start butchering it?
Start butchering it. They love to just. Wyatt likes to hang out in the garage, and he likes to help pull on the skin to skin it, and he likes to
Do man stuff.
But
Everett will get there.
JJ could give two craps less if he does anything with it. To be honest with you, he's gonna be the. I don't know if he's gonna be the one that wants to hunt or not, but
the tennis player of the family.
The tennis player, yeah. No, Wyatt loves doing it though, and that was pretty much my season as far as what I was successful at. But I ended up seeing probably 3 bucks, 4-shooter bucks that were taking a shot on. We had that one video, that tornado buck with that tornado siren came on, literally.
Yeah, that was crazy video.
As I was drawing back to shoot him.
Couldn't have happened to a better person.
I know, right? I was so pissed. 35 yards. He was only like 10 yards away from where I shot that doe at. She was 10 yards to the right in the creek of where he was at. You looking at bows?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Got Steve all jacked now. He's gonna buy bows. But yeah, I ended up. If anybody hasn't seen the video, buck came walking in and almost had a shot and what?
You were talking into your hand.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
I want to make sure this is good.
Yeah.
Steve.
This can only happen organically once.
Organically.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the buck came walking in and ended up getting within about 5 feet of me being able to shoot, and tornado siren came off and spooked him out of there, and never had a chance after that. But going back to what you were talking about earlier about self-filming, like I didn't start self-filming until after I shot those 2 does, and I didn't have a camera arm, and I'm really not using a camera that I probably should be using for it. I'm using my wife's nice photography camera that I'm really scared to take to the woods every time I take it out there. But
need to get your handy cam.
I need to get a handy cam. Would feel way less nervous about dropping it every time I go into the woods. But she's gracious enough to let me use it. But I started using it. Bought a Muddy camera arm, the $30 one or whatever, which for all intents and purposes it does its job, but it's
holds the camera there. But it actually screwed me over twice in the same hunt on 2 different deer. So I'm going to get a new one this year, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so I got it, and then once I got it, I just never had a chance anymore. I had a couple opportunities that came through that just didn't pan out, but never was able to get anything on camera. So season ended probably really ended November. I haven't gone out since probably late November, maybe the first week of December. Which feels like last time I went out.
Feels like 6
Middle
months
of
ago.
December.
Yeah. Yeah.
Muzzleloader. I guess
Was that really the last time you went out?
No, I guess it would have been like the 20th.
I didn't even know you went out for muzzleloader.
Because muzzleloader went out December 22nd. I went 2 days before it went out. That was my last time out.
Oh.
We still had snow on the ground.
Yeah, before we started having spring in the middle of December.
Spring, it's like summer out.
I know.
Not today. It's fucking like 32 degrees.
That's true. Yeah, tomorrow it's going to be 60 with 4 inches of rain.
Oh,
4 inches of rain this weekend.
Yeah.
And then snow on Sunday.
Yeah. So if you want to tip about rabbit hunting in the rain, just find high ground because they're not going to be in their holes.
Huh.
Thanks for that tip.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be staying inside though and dry and warm.
Yep. I'll be in the shop building fires.
Working on shit. Your Santa Claus neon still hanging on the wall?
Oh yeah, he's staying up there all year now. That's his home. He's never leaving. Never leaving.
You had a nice encounter with a small little 2.5-year-old buck, and
that was.
You had a bunch of big bucks on camera.
Yeah, a bunch of big bucks on camera, a bunch of good velvet pictures, and then one of them that I had pictures of last year, got him again this year, but just never could catch up with him. No one ever saw him around me. The good thing about where I hunt mostly is around my house is it's just me right there in that immediate area, and then a guy a half mile to the east, and then a guy a mile to the west.
That's all that hunts around you?
That hunts that strip along the river right there. So.
And none of them had him on camera or anything? Didn't see him on the hoof or anything?
One guy had video of him. He had broke one of his brow tines.
Oh, yeah.
He broke his left brow tine. So he went from a 9 to an 8, but still a giant.
He was solid.
Yeah.
His bases were huge.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll make it and he'll be even bigger next year. But yeah, I'm trying to think when that encounter that I had with that younger 8-pointer was probably right in the middle of November.
Yeah.
Because I think it was gun season, but where I was hunting at, one of the spots that I hunt is I can only hunt with a bow. So I had my bow that day. And it was warm and windy and hunting in the river bottom, which all the leaves were down at that time, so it would be a great gun spot, but just the guy just wants me to hunt with a bow only, which I'm still so thankful for, that he lets me hunt out there.
Did he give you the chance to hunt out there?
Yeah, so I'd been out there for, I don't know, probably an hour or so. And so where I was set up at, it's just a natural travel corridor. The cornfield pinches the woods down right along the river. And so the whole river in that certain area, it's probably 500 yards long, but it's probably only 50 yards wide of woods. And so they just stay in the woods, and I rattled, and it wasn't, I hung my horns up, and it wasn't 2 minutes later that this buck comes walking out from the bedding area where I figured they would be coming from, and walked to, 20 yards, I guess.
So you had a pretty good video of him, too.
Yeah, and then caught my wind and went bounding back towards the bedding area. But
he'll be a nice buck next year.
Yeah. Now, one of the deer that one of my buddies shot down the road looks like this deer, but just bigger. Had the same kind of trash coming off the bases, and then a split that come off in the middle of the antler, right below the G2. So, but yeah, there's lots of big bucks running around there.
There's a lot of big bucks by you.
It seems like I was just unlucky this year, because all those pictures I sent of that big deer that were out in the middle of the morning, I was working a trade that day.
Was that in the morning or was that in the evening time?
It was 9:30 in the morning, right there where I usually have my stand set up. Because there's the cornfield, and then a little strip of trees, like willow trees, and then there's a grass patch that's probably 10 yards wide and 50 yards long. And the guy just lets it grow up into, whatever, fescue or whatever it is, goldenrod, all kinds of junk. Yeah. And
for everybody that's listening real quick, we work for the fire department, so a trade is when somebody needs a day off and they can't get a vacation day or whatnot. When we work every third day, 24 on, 48 off, if you can't get the day off on vacation, then you can trade that day. Where, like Aaron did, you traded with Chris, right?
Yeah.
So he worked.
He still owes me a day too.
So Aaron worked a Friday for Chris.
Friday.
Or did you have a Tuesday? His
a
day's a Tuesday. So he worked a Tuesday for Chris, and now Chris owes him a Friday. So that's how the trade thing works.
That's with the trade with the person on the same shift though too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other shifts, it just whatever. If you call them, be like, hey, I need you to work a shift for me. Then as long as it's within the time frame, they'll work whatever shift. Hopefully they'll work whatever shift you need within that time frame. So
only a select few I trade with off our shift.
Yeah.
I don't trade with very many people off our shift. I try to find the same guy on our shift.
So usually it's a C shifter for me.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So anyway, yeah, I would have been in the stand that morning too.
No.
But working the trade, I was here, and he was sparring with a bunch of little bucks right there in the middle of the morning. I mean, it would have been, where I set my stand up, it would have been a 15-yard shot for any of those deer right there. So. It's
That
just
works though.
It's just the way it plays out. So, but
Yeah, I got a picture of it, something similar to that when I was hunting at my grandpa's farm. Now my uncle owns it, but this was probably 3-4 years ago, and I sat all day. It was colder than hell outside. It was maybe the high was like 15. It was middle of December, and I literally sat from 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning till it was right till prime time in the evening time. It was like 4:30, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. Like I was frozen. Like I've got all my hunting gear, all the hunting gear I've got, or at that time was all Walmart special, Meyer brand. Putting toasty toes in my boots that only last for 2 hours, and then they get shoved up underneath there, and it hurt your feet when you walk out. But so I was done. Like I was absolutely done hunting that day. And 15 minutes after I walked out, my uncle got a alert on his phone, and there was the buck. There was an 8-point, big white 8-point
Oh, get out of here.
that walked right in front of the camera. Right there, he sent me the picture of it. There's me walking out at like 5:15, and at 5:30, there was a buck.
Was there still light out?
There was still light out, yeah, but I was already gone. Yeah. So, just the way it works.
Yeah. Trail cameras are a good thing and then a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're good to see what's out there, but then
they get your hopes up.
Yeah.
They tease you.
And they tease you, and they show you what you missed and what you screwed up on because you left too early or whatever else. But.
Yeah. Or you see a good deer, and any other time, if you were anywhere else without trail cameras, you'd probably shoot a deer. And then with trail cameras, though, you're like, might be that big boy right behind him. I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that was the cool thing about hunting this year without having any cameras out there at that property. I never knew what I was going to see. I mean, it was great. I saw deer almost every day I was out there, but I didn't know how big any bucks were. I didn't know what was out there, or if there was. I didn't have any history with any of them. So every time I saw a deer, it was my first time seeing them. It was more fun. I feel like that way, doing it that way. I'm going to put a couple cameras out now just to kind of see what's out there, and especially with the possibility of a 160-inch deer crossing through the property. But could only imagine seeing that thing on the hoof.
Yeah, be a lot of fun.
Where'd you hunt at this year, Steve? Did you hunt at what property was that you hunted on?
It's an undisclosed location in Hancock County.
Will not give GPS.
So my little event this year was after listening to these guys go out archery on their limited days they could go out, which was every day they weren't at work. So I don't do archery, so I had what's gone 2.5 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks. So I had about 3-4 prime days that I was guaranteed I could go out with scheduling. We came off work. We worked that Friday, so got off work, went home, helped out with the family. My stepdad already went out that morning. My stepbrother went out 2 different properties. Stepdad didn't see anything. He went home, took a nap, so we were going to meet up at probably 12:31 in the afternoon, get our game planned, head to the woods. But about 10 or 11 o'clock, I bought my license, got the bundle deal, head out to the families, the old roommates, chit-chat for a little bit, and talk about not seeing anything all morning. So we drove by a couple different properties, glassed the fields. Most of the fields where we were at were still up. There was a couple that were down, but we went back to the same property. My stepdad already had been out in the morning. We talked to an old timer on our way in. Said he's seen a big old buck, but he wasn't close enough for him to shoot. Thankfully, this old timer was about 100 years old and couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with his rifle. And we're scared to death.
He probably saw 6 different deer when he took that shot.
Yeah. So, and the crazy part about it is it backed up to this property we were hunting. There's some pretty good old country folk that sound like World War III. Every weekend, all weekend, from all day practically, they're target practicing. They got a bunch of targets. They got plenty of property on the back side of the field on the other side of the creek. So, we're walking back and all you hear is bang, boom, boom,
So they're not hunting, they're just target shooting.
Yeah, they're just target shooting. It's the same place we go every year, and it's always going on. These people shoot year round. And so deer obviously are fairly used to it. But we go out to the same spot, our little honey hole. We always hunt and kind of switch up. I just go where my stepdad tells me to go. They got a couple stands up there. On our way out, we see quite a bit of sign. We walk past a family friend's ground blind. They hadn't seen much from that blind yet this year. My family didn't have any cameras out, but the other guys did. So I get into my stand. I got heavy brush to the south of me. I'm facing north. My stepdad's about 100 yards straight north of me. I can't see him just because with the trees. And you're out there, and you always hear the giant buck coming through, but it's just a little squirrel cutting nuts or something. But we're up in the tree. We were probably an hour or two in being out in the woods, probably close to 3, 4 maybe. I get a text message from my old man, and he says, 2 does coming your way. So I sit there, I wait.
Hey,
I don't see
Pardon
I
the
don't see
interruption.
anything. Thanks, Utah.
Your TSU room's a quiet room for you. What's up?
What you need? Oh, you just bored already?
No, I gotta go back to 36s.
Oh.
I had to fix the battery board.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did fry it. Keith knows how to cook some catfish.
Yeah, he does. I just can't even fry food right now, so.
He can fry the unfryable.
Flare up your gout or
Got
what?
the little bubble gut?
No, I have a ton of problems.
Oh, do you really?
There's something I can eat, something I can't.
He does have bubble gut.
I hate the bubble guts.
Like I won't be eating chili tonight.
Oh,
We're having chili tonight?
yeah. Chili.
Here anyways.
Hopefully you deep fries that too.
Deep fried chili.
Deep fried chili.
Everything deep fried. Fair food.
Ooh.
There's a guy
Let's
that
not do
does
that again.
Fried days. And everything he cooked all day long was fried.
We did fried
We did that for the
fried
state
state fair. Everything we
Dude,
cooked
I
was
was
fried.
I was
All
so
the breakfast
miserable
stuff
that
was
night.
fried.
Yeah. Made fried Oreos and fried Snickers.
Oh, I wasn't here for that. That was right before I got here.
Lunch
Thanks.
all fried.
Oh, was it really?
All
Yeah.
Fried. They had fried apples. Was good.
I'm in on fried apples. We had that deep fried chicken with homemade fried onion rings and
Yeah.
deep fried
Elfeners.
French fries.
We had
Yeah,
elf dinners that night,
that
too.
was the fair food day.
We had fair food we had fair food every time we cooked during that 2 weeks.
Anybody?
Well, boys, have fun.
We'll try.
I thought maybe Chris would be here.
No, he's in the basement.
When King's not here, that's his
Out here.
Mhm.
that's his
He
that's
takes
his
over.
castle.
Just like Saturday, we take over Keith's TV room.
Yeah.
Guys, so you guys, I'll move all the chairs out. Put the couches in there.
Don't give us any ideas.
I'm not. I'm just telling you what suggestions.
What not to do?
I would not do that.
Mm.
See you guys.
See ya. All right, I'll go back to it. I think I know where I'm at.
Did you pause?
I know, I'm just going to edit it out.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got bubble gut? No, I got some stomach issues. So you do have bubble gut.
Oh, good old.
All right, so there I was,
Down by the river.
15 feet up.
In a van.
I'm not a very good storyteller, but we'll get back to it. After my stepdad saw them 2 does come walking in. I waited, 15, 20 minutes. We were chitter-chattering back and forth, waiting for the big one. But I guess he saw a coyote follow them 2 does in, but I didn't see anything. And, it was probably getting a little after 4 o'clock. I'm looking up, it started to get a little sleepy, the wind, Look, holy shit, here comes a buck, I couldn't see how big it was. I knew it was a buck.
Big enough?
Big enough, yeah, I was going to shoot it. He just kept walking, and I think he was on the trail of something because, I was an excited little kid. He was walking south. He was to my northeast. Like I said, my stand was straight north. I sat there and hoping he would stop. He finally did stop, but there was 2 pretty big old trees in the way, and he was way too far away. He was still 100 yards plus. I was shooting open sight with my 870. So I waited and waited. This guy was walking through the woods. I'd say the tree line to the field. So I was in the woods. We're in this peninsula directly to my east. About 65 yards, 60, 65 yards was the field. So he was walking south and then started to walk out into the cornfield. Came back in about 20 yards, then went back out to the cornfield, and he wasn't stopping. So I had like the last ditch effort. So I got my call out and gave him it was probably a horrible snort wheeze, but I gave her hell. I watched a couple YouTube videos before I hit the woods just to brush up on my skills. Dude stops in between two trees. It was like a fork in the tree, and it was just, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So just exhaled and tried to relax, pulled the trigger, boom. It was like a cartoon. That buck flipped over on his back. I was like, holy shit, the death
I got him
already. I was like, huh. I was like, oh, great. I shoot a text to my stepdad. I got him. He's down. I was sitting there, letting him do his thing. Leave him alone, have the last few peaceful seconds, and I see him roll over. I was like, oh shit. Then I see him start to crawl. Come to find out, I spined him pretty good. Got one of my tenderloins. Blew that to pieces. But fortunately, we got down and dispatched the animal fairly quickly, so he wasn't suffering. And then it was almost dark, so I had to dress him out and drag him out about dark. So
right after you did a Kyle Smith.
Oh yeah, after we did Dirty Bulk and Leg Day with Kyle Smith. Got video of that painful drag. So, but other than that, it was 6-7 hours after I bought my license the first time I shot a deer on opening day of gun season. So it was pretty successful, pretty happy moment. I'm sure my wife was pretty happy that I didn't have to spend any more time in the woods or away from the family. So
that's how my year was last year when I shot a doe on a Thursday, went to work on a Friday, and shot my buck on Saturday. All urban.
Archery?
Yeah. So I was done. I had a doe on the ground and a buck on the ground by September 21st. And urban for Indiana comes in September 15th.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a pretty quick year last year. Hell, the same thing this year. I'd gone 2 and 3 days or 2 and 4 days.
Yeah, but you spent 2 more months in the woods.
I spent a lot of time in the woods this year.
Yeah.
On your limited days.
You need to spend more time in the woods.
I wish I can. Next year I will be able to, though. Next year when the kids are both in school.
Yeah.
Every day they're in school. And Brittany's at work, I'll be...
Emma will be old enough next year. She can just tag along with me. Little backpack carry-along thing.
Have you seen that, I'm going to butcher her name, Becca... She's on Facebook
I know who you're talking
and
about,
Instagram and everything.
Don't know the name.
She's in Ohio. Becca Garis, I think it is. Yeah. Dude, she shot a doe with her daughter on her back. Recurve.
Nice.
You seen that picture, Steve?
Mm-mm.
She went out, and her daughter's maybe a little over a year old, probably, it looks like. And she hunts old school recurve, does her own feather fletchings and everything on her own arrows and everything. And she literally went out. I guess her daughter was being fussy or whatnot, and so she was coming back to the truck and leaving, or the car or whatever, and on her way out, big doe walks right in front of her, shoots her, bagged a doe with her daughter on her back, walking out of the woods.
Tough.
She does it all the time though. If anybody out that's listening to this, if you want to follow someone that's pretty cool, follow her. She's on Facebook and Instagram, but she's got some pretty cool pictures and stuff. But yeah, she takes her daughter with her, and she's carrying her on her back, one of those backpack carriers.
Yeah.
But, so you can do it.
Yeah.
There's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
That'll be the good thing once the kids get older too. And I think next year, I was talking to Nick about this yesterday, about taking the kids rabbit hunting. Starting to get Wyatt into it. He's already gone with me deer hunting. We got
They're the dogs.
Do what?
I said they're the dogs.
Yeah.
They flush them out.
Yep. But we got him a bow this year, so we're starting to get him into that a little bit, and hopefully 2 or 3 years from now he'll be able to go out and
How old
Shoot.
is he? 7?
He'll be 7 next month. So.
I got the perfect 410 for him.
Do you?
Oh yeah, a little single shot.
Nice
golden half.
low price for it. Or just to
Oh,
borrow?
oh no, to borrow.
Oh, you don't want to.
And
Aaron buys guns. He doesn't sell
I don't
guns.
sell guns. Only buy. Yeah.
Gonna need to buy a new safe after all his gun purchases.
He sold one gun, and I have that golden
Yeah,
gun.
I sold one gun. I shot it once and then sold it.
That's how he
What
does
was
it.
it?
The
It was a Mossberg
395 SA.
bolt action shotgun.
12 or 20?
12.
Nice. Well, I think that's pretty much it. That was pretty much our season, our seasons. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some more footage here coming up with rabbits still going in,
Squirrels.
squirrels still in, coyotes still in. Really, then it's just prepping for next year's deer season and
Turkey season.
Fishing.
And getting some
Countdown
fishing
time.
coming in. Yeah,
Yes.
Steve and I got some kayaks last year, so we're gonna get out there and do some
Rip and lip.
some rip and lip. Try to get some those big creek monsters that we catch.
That's right.
I'll bring my cane pole.
3 ounce stripers or smallies.
Fish to fish.
That's all they were, but still fish. So we got a lot of video coming up from that too. But
Make
hopefully,
sure to go over to the Facebook and Instagram page.
yeah, Instagram page, Facebook. Actually, we just I think we just hit 112 on the
What?
good old Instagram. Yeah, it's tough. It's a lot tougher than I thought it would be getting
Yeah.
people. Hell, my own personal page, I got 290.
I know.
I've had that
All
for
friends though.
Yeah, all friends. But none of our friends want to be our friends on Instagram on our
Yeah.
Backstep Outdoors page.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, go over to Backstep Outdoors and follow along.
yeah, tell everybody about it. And when if you hunt or get out there and fish or whatnot, get out there and take somebody with you. Like I said
Yeah.
earlier, when you gotta keep it going, keep people entertained with it, and get
Try
them out there
something
and
new.
try something new. That's the big thing. We did a fall challenge this year too. Couple friends on the job, did a fall challenge. It's still going on till rabbit goes out at the end of February.
Right.
So we'll probably do a little podcast, something on that, explaining that and a little bit and points and go over who won and who lost. And I think Jimmy Dillman's the only one that doesn't have any points yet.
Yes.
Jimmy.
He was just there for the sport. He just wanted to donate $20 to the cause. So, but
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be that guy.
but
Nope.
then you
went
got
out and
a
shot a
bass.
buck.
You got a
Yeah, I
bass
did.
on there too, didn't
Yeah. Yeah, that you didn't give me points for.
you? I got to update it. You got to send it to me.
And I didn't get points for the rabbit I killed with my lawnmower.
Jimmy's dad, Pete, keeps sending me stuff. Whenever I update the points list, he's like, "Hey, thanks for updating the points list, but aren't rabbits worth 2 points, not 1?" I'm like, "Pete, you're absolutely correct. I keep screwing it up."
Pete wants to win.
Pete does.
What's the pot?
I can't remember.
How many people
I think
are
it's
in?
like 140.
Oh, wow.
I think it's 140 for.
I need to find a buck in the urban zone.
I think it's
Not Kennedy off
140.
that top
I
spot.
think it's 140 for the overall winner, and then I think its biggest buck is 50, and biggest bass is 40. Or biggest bass and biggest buck are 40 or 50 apiece, and the overall winner is 140, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
That's a pretty good pot.
yeah, but right now,
Better start getting out there and hunting now.
But right now, Caleb's gonna
Right now.
win the overall and the biggest buck.
Yeah.
Because what was his 149? His buck. So
Who's in that? Worth was the next one.
Worth was the next one with 141 or 139. I think Worth is 139. So yeah, we got 2 huge bucks with this fall challenge on the ground. So, but we'll go over that and talk about it a little bit and go into more in depth in it. But next podcast we do, hopefully Aaron will remember his camera.
We'll have video.
My
So you
video
can see
of
our
it.
faces. I like to wear masks.
Aaron's
so
gonna wear a mask. 'Cause he's,
I'm the mystery man of the Backstep Outdoors. So
If you're on our Backstep Outdoors Facebook page or Instagram, it's usually me that you're seeing, my ugly mug. But Aaron, little ginger, he usually gets on there, maybe posts a face shot maybe once a month, maybe.
It's
yeah,
a
maybe.
little camera shy.
He's a little camera shy, but
Got a good radio voice, though.
he does. Nice deep. You're still sick, aren't you?
I'm still sick. That's why.
But yeah, I think that about does it. So
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode whenever we decide to have time to finish it or do it or whatever. But hopefully it'll be sooner than later. So now we got more free time that deer season's gone.
Yeah.
But all right, that's pretty much it.